everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of AFC Leyton's RealTalk. We've been looking at football journeys and an insight into our very own coaches. We have with us today Estelle, our under-14s and women's team manager, Gemma, our under-10s team manager, Stephanie, under-8s and under-9s team manager, and Nyla, who used to coach for Leyton and I do hope returns to us one day. Give us a wave. And myself, AFC Leyton club secretary.
I had a GCSE class, funny enough. It was terrible. Like, our teacher never turned up. Like, honestly, I could count on one hand how many times she actually turned up. So all of us, like the girls, would go and play or try and play with the boys on the AstroTurf. And if it was a certain three teachers, they would let us play because they kind of knew that we were the people that played football in our school. But if it was like two of the others, I don't know what it was, but their vibe was just so sexist. Like, it was literally like, girls, no, get off the pitch. You shouldn't be here. You can't play with the boys. Yeah,
So you didn't actually join a team then?
I think year 10, I played properly for the school team. And then it was only in year 10 that I actually joined Crystal Palace. And that was just... It was a rocky journey at Palace. I won't lie.
How did you do that? So did you go and actually trial at Crystal Palace, or did they scout you? What was your journey into that club?
Well, first of all, throughout the whole of my footballing, let's call it career, I've never seen a scout. I've actually never seen a scout. I'll be very honest. My friend told me about it because she used to play for Crystal Palace. Or two of them actually, and then I went to trial and then I got in and I played for about 4 seasons. And the first like 2.5 seasons, they were just tragic.
So this was just grassroots, wasn't it, under the badge?
So whenever people say, oh, you play for Crystal Palace, that's so sick, I kind of just be like, it's not that sick. To be fair, Palace ruined my love for football in that last season when I went to East London to go to college because they said they offered like a Tottenham scheme alongside your course. But even when I got there, I was the only girl that wanted to play football. So I still didn't get back into football for a while.
Yeah. And then, of course, that's when we found you, wasn't it? Because it was part of your course.
Literally. So it happened for a reason. I didn't get to play football, but I found a good coaching job out of it.
So from there, obviously, so you had your only real club experience then was Crystal Palace, other than at university. So what made you want to become a coach then? Was that just something that you were forced into because you were looking at football at college?
I just saw it as a footballing opportunity where I'm not playing, but I'm still involved in the game. And I remember from young, people would always say, I don't think they really throw it around that much anymore, but when I was younger, they would be like, people that can't play the game, they generally coach it. I remember hearing that, and I remember hearing it and thinking, that doesn't make sense. Like, if you have a love for football, you're going to be involved in it anyhow. So when I heard about coming to Leyton, I was like, I might as well. And I remember Tom, he would try and put me into sessions and ease me into it. And then he would come and find me and just be talking, and I weren't really getting the full experience. And then I remember just one day it kind of just clicked. I don't know when. I think it might have been when I started doing the Saturday sessions with all of the development players, and just seeing all the players coming in, seeing their ability. I was just like, this is so refreshing, because it's like, if you catch them from a young age, you literally shape their footballing skill throughout. So I think literally when I actually started coaching for myself and developing my own plans and session plans, seeing them playing matches and seeing how they could improve, I think it just took off from there.
I think I was 14 my first time. I injured my knee and I had to have an operation. I got referred to a specialist and had something called stem cell surgery. So I had that, and it's worked so far. But because of all that knee injury and all that, I was scared to not play, and I hadn't played for 2.5 years. And then that's how I got into coaching, really. Because of the thought, psychological, really, I just thought, I can't injure it again. I can't hurt it again. I can't go through all that again. So I went back to uni. I got into coaching with the second team coach, just helping him out, really, just setting up a few cones, doing whatever he needed me to do, really. And then, so I got into that through him. And then the first team manager saw me after one training and said, Gemma, do you want to do a coaching course? And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, like, why not? I'll give it a go. So I got onto the course through my uni, really. And then my third year I was coaching. I did after school clubs through that for the uni. We'd go to primary schools and coach girls. I think I coached reception to, I think they were year 2. So yeah, just basic skills, games, whatever you could do with that age. And then I'm a futsal coach as well. So I coached that on Saturday mornings. And yeah, that's it really. That's all. And then obviously I came to Leyton and yeah.
That's cool. And you're also a fully qualified physio as well, aren't you? That's your...
Yeah, so I study sports therapy at uni. So yeah, so I'm a sports therapist, yeah.
Yeah, so this, you're going to be around the game forever, aren't you, basically? This is your...
yeah, so I knew I always wanted to be in the game. Like I knew I'd never be playing football forever. Like I was never going to make it or whatever. So I knew that. I played because I liked to play. But... yeah, even when I was at uni, I never thought I'd not be playing. It's only because of lockdown and then my jobs and that, I can't really fit it in at the moment. I would love to start playing again. I don't actually want to stop.
You've gone from coaching adults to very, very young children. So there's quite a big sort of disparity there. So how do you get your head into switching from adults and children?
Coaching the little ones is, they look up to you basically. Like they think you know what you're talking about, whereas the older ones are like, oh, I'm the same age as her. Why are they going to listen to me? So it is harder in that sense. Yeah. It's harder. Coaching the younger ones it's a lot easier.
Okay, I'm going to move over to Estelle now. I'm going in order basically of how I can see you on my top row.
My dad was probably the one that got me into football, not through playing, just through like watching football. He works at Chelsea. He's a bodyguard for the first team. So I've always had that like direct link with Chelsea and football. And then started playing just for fun when I was about 5 or 6, and then joined my first team when I was about 8, which was Barking Ladies. Was there for about a year, and then left and joined Peckham Town. Didn't have a girls team at the time. They had I can't remember if it was under 11s mixed or under 11s boys, because I can't remember there being a girl on the team when I was there, but I could be wrong and I just can't remember. So I think my second week I played a game for the under 11s, and then I forgot to mention this before, but my coach was a female coach. She coached that team. The only female coach at the club, and she's the first and only female coach that I had met before Gemma and Steph. Like I said before, and obviously Nyla as well. They're the first 3 female coaches I've ever met. But she was an ex-England and ex-Arsenal player, so that was really interesting to see. Played the game with them, and then a week later I started training with the under 16s at Peckham, because they obviously didn't have an all girls team for my age group, and they just moved me up to the under 16s.
But how was that though, size wise? I mean, obviously you're tall, aren't you? You're 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah, I've always been.
Were they a lot bigger than you? Did you feel intimidated in any way? Because that's 4 years up from your playing age.
Yeah. It helped. I was smaller, but I was big enough to keep up. And I think training with them made me even stronger, because the coaches always said, don't go easy on me. So it kind of toughened me up, having like all these 16-year-olds try and barge me off the ball. So it definitely helped my development. And I think playing like street football as well, because that's before I even joined the club. That's where me starting playing football started, because I grew up on a council estate and I still live on the council estate, and our source of entertainment was the 2 courts that we have on our estate. We've got a little blue court that's for like 1 to 3 aside, and then we've got like a massive court where you have like 40 people on, even though it's not meant for 40 people. So that's where like I started playing football before playing for a team, so I've always kind of played with people that are like double, triple my age, so it wasn't too bad going to Peckham and training with the 16s.
There is something about that, isn't there, about just getting stuck in. I imagine that you're not the type of person that gets intimidated by situations. I can see that, and obviously sticking you with 16-year-olds when you were 11, that was an environment that you actually thrived from. It wasn't an intimidating environment from you.
But I'd also already started coaching at the time, so coaching was already on my mind since I was 13, so I decided to go ahead and start coaching.
Because when you came to us, even though you were 18, you actually came to us as quite an experienced coach. So you'd clearly been doing 4 years of coaching at that point.
4 years.
Yeah, and that's actually quite incredible. So obviously I had every confidence in just letting you run with it, doing your session planning, because even though you were as young as you were, because of all that experience you'd had. Do you think you will always coach?
Yeah, 100%. I think I'll always coach. I want to continue coaching, just see how far coaching can take me, see what level I can get with coaching. Obviously, I'm at uni at the moment.
And what are you studying at university?
I'm doing sports performance and coaching. So I'm on my last year, so it's all kind of connected. But I'm planning on doing a sports psychology master's as a backup, because obviously with coaching, it's unpredictable. The chances of getting to the elite level, especially as a female, or I don't even know what the percentages are, but they're going to probably be less than 1%. So I still want to be doing something where I can be involved, and it kind of gives me two pathways to go and study in football. So
So you'd want progress to B license, A license, pro if you can.
Definitely want to try and get my UEFA B at a minimum. Yeah.
Stephanie, over to you now. So tell us about your journey, and I know obviously a little bit about your journey, because our head coach Tom used to coach you, didn't he? So
yeah, he did. So I was kind of similar. I was kind of 5'6" when I started playing football. I was already the same. My dad and my granddad were obviously very into football. One was a Tottenham fan and one was a West Ham fan. And as soon as my dad kind of clocked on that, like, oh, she liked football, it was like this battle between them. So they were both taking me to games. One was taking me to Tottenham, one was taking me to West Ham, just so that either one of them could be like, oh, she supports West Ham, she supports Tottenham. So it was kind of from then I started watching it, because in a way, like, it was kind of like, it was just something I was used to. And then eventually when I got about 7, 8, I went to like, it was actually one in Walthamstow. I don't know if you've heard, it's the Trevor Bailey, the Trevor Bailey Academy. I actually went with them because we know like the people that run it. So it was all boys. I was the only girl. Like, there was not one girl inside, not even in like other age groups. I was the only girl, and I actually had people come up to me and be like, are you a boy? Like, because if you're not, like, why are you here? And I used to look at them and be like, obviously I'm not a boy. Like, you can hear the way up. I don't know. I was like 8, 9, so confused as well. I was like, so I was there for about 2 years. I never actually played a game with them. I used to train with them and I used to play a game, because obviously it was all boys, and my training a lot of the time was, oh, like, we just got to build you up your strength, because obviously you're going to be playing against boys. And even then, like, between the ages 7, 8 and 9, I was still quite young for them to be like comparing my strength, because at that age you're not doing it. At that point it was non-competitive, it was for fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're doing it for enjoyment. So when I was 9, I left, and one of my best friends, she had joined Enfield Town, who her dad was actually running the team. So I went and joined there. And obviously at the time I'd never played a game, so I had no idea about positions. I just kind of ran about, and he was like, what position do you want to play? I was like, I don't know. And he was like, play left back. We don't have a left back. So I was like, oh, okay. So then we started playing, and that was probably my best time playing football. I was so young. I was there till I was about 12. But we were unbeaten every season. We were on cup finals, and we were all we were all good friends. There wasn't, like Nyla spoke about, that kind of that hostility and that kind of clickiness in football. It wasn't. We were so young, and we never had that, which was what football's all about.
And was that an all-girls team, or was that?
Yeah, it was all-girls team. Yeah. There was only 2 girls team at the time, so it was my age group. What was at the time, it went to under 12s, and then there was a year up. And then you had like the first team, so there was no like in between. It was literally just 3 of us, and they were all run by parents as well, so they weren't proper coaches. It was just like parents. And then it got to obviously about under 12s, and got to the end of that, and the dad couldn't do it anymore, so it kind of collapsed a little bit. And that's actually when we all went to, at the time it was Loas, but then I got injured in a game, just like it was just a rubbish tackle. I was about 14 at the time, and I ended up tearing my ligaments in my ankle. So I stopped playing football. I left, and that was that kind of year I didn't quite know what I was going to do. And that's actually another friend of mine was kind of like, listen, like, I'm coaching for this team. They're trying to start up a female section. Why don't you come over? So I was like, yeah, I'm 14. I was like, don't mind, and whatever, like, give me something to do. And then I went, and at the time it was called Broomfield. So I helped out at first at the time there were under 7 girls. And yeah, so I was helping with them. We used to do like strength and conditioning with them. We never used to take the sessions because that was like the senior coach's job. Well, again, they were all males. Like, they had no female coaches in at the time. And then that next year, so obviously I had that year with them. And then halfway through that year, my first year, they were like, listen, we do toddlers on the weekend. Why don't you just come along? And I was like, oh, all right, I don't mind, like, whatever. And I done that for about 6 months. So I done toddlers. Again, there were no girls. It was all boys, toddlers. And it's not like we had like none of the advertisement was specific. Oh, like boys only toddlers. It just was toddlers. It was called tots at the time. So we had them. There was like 10 little like 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds just running about everywhere. And then at the end of it, they went, listen, we want you to do an older age group. So, and like I was just like, no, like, it's not, playing's not for me. So I just stuck to my coaching, and I took my weekends on that. And that's actually another friend of mine was kind of like, listen, like, I'm coaching for this team. They're trying to start up a female section. Why don't you come over? So I was like, yeah, I'm 14. I was like, don't mind. And then so I was with them for quite a while till I was 18. And I actually got taken from the girls section into the boys section. So I done under 7 boys. That was very interesting. It was very different. The parents had very different expectations. We were doing well. We were doing fine. But I did have a few complaints because they used to say that they wanted a kind of a male figure to look up to. I was like, I know I have the capability and the experience and kind of to coach them boys, and they're only 7. I was like, but I just felt like for them, it was like, I was like, I wasn't good enough because I wasn't like a male. So if I had a male person with me at the game, it'd be all right, no matter what the score was. And then after that, I took a year out, and that's obviously when I started with AFC Leyton. So I was at Pro Direct for 4 or 5 years, took my year out, and then obviously I started with them, and it's nice to be in an all girls environment. 100%.
And it's that indoctrination, isn't it, that boys are indoctrinated into football and girls are introduced into football depending on whether the parents support it or not. Otherwise, you know, they're exposed to it via clubs like Leyton that go into schools when we deliver our sessions to introduce to the game. So yeah, there is a conflict about you know, that sort of mentality. The
one thing I have to say, like touching on primary schools, actually my primary school's girls team was really good. We actually got to the nationals in our primary school, and that was kind of like, it was a shock because I hear back from everyone else saying about their primary schools not having that and having that resource, and it was kind of like I'm quite happy to say that like I did have that, but even though we got to the nationals and it was like, it's a really big thing, it just wasn't really recognized because, like you said, it's that thing of like, that's what the boys should be doing, like, not us girls.
So you've all coached boys and you've all coached girls. What do you think is the big difference between coaching boys and girls? And I'm going to ask this to everybody, and I'm going to be really controversial here and ask you which you prefer.
I think the one thing is that's a bit different is a bit of respect, because I mean, like, I don't know who said it, but someone touched upon that. The girls, they look at you as a role model for themselves. Do you know what I mean? Because like the girls, and they're seeing a female coach them. And I think with the boys, I think that's based on my own experience though, because I felt like I didn't get respect purely because of my gender, not because of my skill set, because all the parents knew me from my other things I was doing, but it was like for that team, I don't feel like they respected me enough purely because of my gender.
Gemma.
Oh, okay. So I don't know which I prefer, because I love coaching girls. I like coaching girls, and then I can't wait to see them, I don't know, in the next few years, see what they're going to be like. That I'm excited to see that. But from coaching at a boys' club as well, I've realised that coaching them technically, so doing technical drills or whatever, it's easier, because they pick up the technical drill. They just pick it up easier. I don't know why. But trying to teach girls, you have to explain it about 5 times before you've even started the drill.
They keep yapping. That's what they do.
Yeah, they do that a lot. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they do that a lot. I don't know what it is. They just can't pick up the technical side of things. They pick it up a little bit later than boys. And I don't know whether that's because boys have been playing since, I don't know, young, and girls
probably is.
Haven't.
Yeah, the girls have been exposed to it a lot later, because some of the girls that obviously came into your team, that might have been their first ever season, in football. Whereas an under-10s, a boy could have been playing for 4 years, 5 years.
Another thing I noticed was coaching at a boys' club is they don't talk as much as girls, and they listen. They do listen more. They genuinely do. Like, don't get me wrong, they still have their moments where they're chatting and whatever else, but they do listen and pick it up more. And then girls just, I don't know, it just takes them a little bit longer. But I don't know what I prefer. I like both.
That's interesting, because I've been told from male coaches, they tell me they prefer coaching females, because the females are more like sponges and they just listen. And the boys, they feel like the boys just think like they know it all already, but they find it harder.
Do you think it depends on age group as well? Because,
that's what I was going to say.
I think if you have older girls, they will.
I have a counter to that, because I currently coach under 12 girls, and they do not stop talking. Like, honestly, like, I've only just started implementing, like, you have to run to that tree that's like 5 blocks away from the park and to come back, because you need to get that energy out somehow. But what was the question? How do we find it different?
Yeah. And actually, do you adapt your coaching style? So, for example, now you might not have seen this document, but AFC Leyton produced a document about football and periods, and just looking at how coaching has to be adapted, and you have to understand that a lot of females are classed as inconsistent players just because of a certain time of the month where they're not performing at 100%. And then also, there's also a higher risk of injury at certain times of the month. ACL injuries are more prevalent in females than they are in men.
I didn't know that. That was news to me.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll send you the document. I thought I'd sent it out to everybody, but I can send.
No, I mean, like, when I read that, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely in there. There was a very, very large study of, I think it was something like 75,000 women. The study was originally done for skiing. So it was a big study on skiing, and how a lot of female skiers had these ACL injuries compared to the men who didn't. And then they tracked the female cycle, and it was more prevalent at a certain time of month. It's just kind of interesting to see that. However, men are more at risk of groin injuries than females, which is, another thing. So it's not all bad, just on the female side. So there is sort of a way to, an adaptation perhaps. We need to be looking at training differently for females, the way that session plans are developed. God, there was a 1 month where I got through all of the spare crutches we've got at Leyton just on sharp turns that in training. I think 2 run your session, Estelle, actually. So it is more prevalent with the older girls than it is with the younger girls because of the monthly cycle. But yes, I mean, and girls are more chatty in general. I remember a peloton passed my house, and all the boys were cycling first, and it was deadly silent. And then the women came, and it was just chatter as they were cycling through. There's just this noise that came through. And women in general, you know, we do like to talk more than men do. But, you know, gameplay, does that, you know, is there that much of a difference when it comes down to gameplay? How are you adapting your session planning? Is your style different when coaching females to the boys? You know, how does that pan out for you?
Well, myself, I haven't really coached boys. I think, or for a long period of time, I did it for a really, really short period of time, maybe like a month. And it wasn't a team full of boys, it was mixed. So it was interesting to see how they worked. But I think, so I can't really give like an opinion on that side. But I would say naturally you kind of would adapt, because even down to the study that you said, we understand that you have a monthly cycle. So if it was a case of like an older female player coming to you and saying, oh, like, I'm in so much pain right now, I need to sit out, and you'd be a lot more understanding, and there would be a lot more, they'll tell you a lot more freely than say if they had a male coach or that kind of thing. Yeah. So I don't think we consciously would change it, but I think subconsciously we naturally would adapt to the fact that we can relate to them on more than one level. And because the study showed that you know, despite female performance massively dropping at a certain time of the month, you know, dropping down to something like 60% performance, females feel more pressure to train, so they wouldn't not train. So from a male coach perspective, that player is being classed as inconsistent, but they're not actually an inconsistent.
I think that's why, like, it's really good. When I first came to AFC Leyton, and obviously, like, I was shown around, and like Gemma and Estelle, then I think that was really good for me to see kind of female coaches, because when I was obviously at Pro Direct, it was like the female section, there was probably it started off with only 3 of us girls, and there was a team at 9s, 10s, 11, 12, whatever. And it is, like I said, that more understanding. You don't do it on purpose, but like you said, if someone came off and you went, what's wrong with you today, like what's been happening, you're not usually like this, and they go, like, it's that time of the month, you kind of more go, no, I get it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's like you don't do it on purpose, like it's not an excuse, but then you kind of sit there and go, no, I do understand. Do you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things.
Yeah. And there needs to be more education for male coaches as well. Most coaches are men. So you've got all of these women across the country, or these females, I should say, across the country, being coached by men who have literally no understanding.
I think it was good what you kind of put out, because it is not just performance wise, but like attitude wise as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially when they get older, they'll snap back at you so quickly, and like as if you don't understand that, you'll be sitting there and you'd be like, they're talking about, but when you kind of think, oh, do you know what, I think I know why, and you kind of like let it go, because like, do you know what, I understand. But like as a male coach, you just think they're being rude to you.
Exactly. So yeah, it's having that understanding, isn't it? I mean, there are some apps and things now as well that allow a coach to track that information. So every player puts the app on their phone, and then the coach can actually see and adapt their session and basically be prepared for what they might face. Now, but I think, you know, as a female coach, if you had that app and asked your female players to do it, I think they're more inclined to actually be honest and share that with you.
When they're
yes,
I don't know about that. I don't know.
I don't think I want to know that.
Imagine like, you get a notification.
I feel like I'm then changing my session for that one person.
No, but it's about
imagine if all 8 of them are on or something like that.
Yeah, but
you've got like 8 of them at the same time. You go, do you know what? I can plan my session like this.
You know what? Let's just cancel this week's session. Like, no.
They're all 8 of them are gonna be like talking back to you. You're like, do you know what? I know why. Because this app told me.
Do you want to take a session? I'll join in.
But it does exist, and I think I can't remember which club it was now. It might have been Chelsea that started to explore all of this originally and started to adapt their session planning. You know, they were using these apps, looking at nutrition, you know, based on the monthly cycle, and I think it's just a really interesting topic that's not talked about enough. You know, this happens to every female everywhere, and you know, from a certain age to, you know, up until 60s, and it's not talked about enough, I think, in sport. There was even an article that was talking about the football kits that women's wear, and putting women and females in white shorts.
Oh my God. I had that. So my sixth form, obviously I'd done a education program for sixth form. And I remember they gave us a kit one day and they were like, yeah, you've got to wear the white shorts. And we all looked at each other and you're like, you joking me? And they're like, no, you've got to wear white shorts. And
idea.
And we all looking at each other and we were like, they're joking us. I was like, you can't give us girls like white shorts. It's impossible.
It's just the way. But again, it's people that are making decisions that are not just taking in, this simple biology into account when they're planning everything from the kits to the session plan, to everything that's kind of.
They've changed the shorts for the women's as well. Have you seen the style? The style's different.
I've not noticed that.
Yeah, there's a female fit. Like they're a bit shorter. Yeah, they're shorter, and they like the sides. They kind of go up. It's kind of like, it's a bit weird. It's like kind of to fit a kind of shape of a woman, but it's like they're really short.
I mean, that's another interesting topic. Should women's clothes, women's sports clothes be fitted? I actually prefer. I think they should, personally, unisex. But some people, I don't know, maybe they do want it to be these fitted outfits. What do you?
I don't think so.
It has to be the worst thing. Fitted clothing, because it's just, I don't know, for me anyways, when I was playing football and the fitting's just tight and I'm running, I'm just feeling self-conscious because it's like, why do you
can't breathe either?
Exactly, like it's so hugging. It was just, I hated it. Any kit was just so fitted and I was just like, why?
But then they take it too far, because we used to wear the boys kit and it'd be like go from like really tight and fitted
so baggy
to like the shorts were down to our ankles and the top were dresses.
Literally, there's no in between. It's either hugging you or it's literally down to your top is down to your knees.
Yeah.
See, the struggle is real, isn't it?
It is. I had to order kids sizes because all the men's stuff was too big for me. So I'm pretty sure my coaching stuff is extra large boys.
Yeah.
Because it is extra large boys. Because if I got any more, like the small men's would be like down to my knees. I'm like, how?
It is, but this is why I think we need more women coaches. We really do. And I was saying on a previous Real Talk that it's so natural for a male to exit playing and become a coach, but it's not in that mentality really for a lot of females. They just exit playing, they just stop playing. And I think I don't think any of the females on our current women's team that we've just put together would have actually even considered coaching. That it just hadn't been in their mindset to think about that progression into the game that way. But we really, really need more women in leadership roles in football, because this is how we change those decisions. White shorts and session planning and consideration about that whole inconsistent player. That really does wind me up, that one, because every woman is going to be classed as inconsistent at some point, unless you're very, very fortunate. So it was just, you've been on the receiving end of this as a player. Do you think that shaped the way that you coach?
Now I'm like coaching girls, like I can understand more kind of thing. And it was like I don't know, you just get it more. I think there's just, you don't even need to have that conversation. It's like that straight understanding. I feel like if you have a male coach, so you have a bit of like awkwardness kind of going, oh, this is why. But when it's like a female, you can kind of like, it's kind of like it's like a little art, like a nod, like, yeah, I know why. And then you kind of move on swiftly from it. Or you could just have the app and just look at it. I personally should get that app.
Men are just more squeamish, even down to when you're in school. And you say, can I go to the toilet? And it's like, they could tell you no, or they might say yes, but it's like, even the fact that I have to ask and you have to know why is just, it's a bit much.
So I went to an all-girls school, so I was very used to like put my hand up and be like, this is why, like I need to go. But like when you get to a mixed school, it's very different. It's like screaming. It's just, you don't want to say it either. You don't want to go like, miss, like I need to go because, yeah, it is very, I think with kind of that male point of view, it is very different. And I think males are very strong with like playing and like the sense of like your ability and your consistency. And I think that's what it is. It's like for them, they don't care. They kind of reason why it's kind of like why it like kind of thing. It's like you're not playing well, and that's it.
I actually never experienced that because my manager had a daughter who was in the same team, so he actually understood. So I actually never experienced any of that.
Yeah, Tom had a little boy, so I don't think he'd quite understand that.
But actually, in Tom's favour, in Tom's defence, he was the one that actually requested that document be produced, because he was saying there needed to be a greater understanding for male coaches within the club to understand this, you know, this whole aspect of it, that, you know, because it is very, I mean, it's so natural, but it's very alien to men. They're just so, you know, so ridiculous.
I learned some new things, so I can imagine they learned a lot.
you were educated, Jem.
Oh,
That's good.
I'm going to resend you the document so you can read it again after this.
Do you know what? I might reread it and see what Gemma learned, because I don't know what else she's learned.
I learned a lot. I didn't know you could get injured so easily.
Yes.
Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there is.
I've never thought about that.
It's not more easily. It's just some people will be more susceptible at a certain time of month. That's all. It doesn't mean it's everyone, but there is just there's a higher risk profile. That's all it is. It's not that we're all having these. You know,
Emma's definitely been telling everyone. Did you know?
I get a document up. I've been sending it on.
Well, anyway, we've done the hour, so that was fantastic, everyone. I don't know if anybody wants to make any final comments around, you know, coaching. What's it like being coaching at AFC Leyton? That might be a good way to end.
I love it.
Yeah, I've been here for what, 4 months now?
Yeah.
And yeah, loved it every minute. I've actually, and go on.
No, go on, Jem. Okay. You go.
So once this has been sent out, I genuinely think that more females at AFC and maybe other places will want to get into coaching. I actually do. I think, because for me, from hearing from my coach at uni saying get into coaching, it actually made me think, oh yeah, do you know what? I'm actually going to give it a go. And I think having that female tell you was different than having a male go on, see if you can do it. Because I think it might make a change, I reckon.
Change. Yeah, I think when it's offered to you, it's a lot different, kind of.
Yeah.
And especially when you can actually visually see, oh my God, there is actually quite a lot of people that are involved in it. And the fact that we're a girls only club, it might actually attract more people, for the fact that they might go and search for their own local clubs. Because they might have girls only ones. I mean, like, you just don't know. And to be honest, like, kind of coaching at AFC Leyton, it has, like, I've started I love my coaching again, and I actually miss my girls. Like, I kind of miss them booting balls everywhere when I've told them to sit down. So my little under 8s and 9, my mischiefs.
Estelle, any final comments?
No, just do it. If you want to do it, do it. Just don't let anything hold you back. So, because you're not always going to have that person there to push you on, to tell you to do it. So sometimes you just got to take things into your own hands and just do it. Nike sponsor me, by the way. I've just said your motto about 5 times.
Just do it. I'm pretty sure you're wearing a Nike top as well.
Yeah, I'm actually. Wait.
And me. Nyla, any final words?
Literally, if you're involved in football, you're interested in football, you might as well literally just get into it. And AFC Leyton, I think they really opened my eyes on how much people actually care for female football and the development of football. I think that's one thing that Leyton really, as soon as you join, as soon as you enter, it's just there. Like, we genuinely care for the development of girls' football. And even this Zoom, YouTube, it actually shows it.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for your time, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.